right now at 7.
Vaccines for everyone, 16 and up. The celebration and frustration tonight surrounding California's new milestone.
I feel like everybody in my friend group at least has been really waiting on edge to get this as soon as possible.
Plus, will you need a third booster shot? What you need to know tonight if you got a certain type of vaccine.
Plus, could a deadly police shooting inside an East Bay Walmart have been prevented? The new independent report released about an hour ago.
Plus, red hot real estate. We are live in the Bay Area city that is now top 3 in the nation for home sales.
I've never experienced anything like it, and I can't keep up with all the buyers reaching out to me.
Right now on the KPIX 5 News at 7 and streaming on CBS Bay Area, it's something that we have been waiting for since the beginning of the pandemic. The state throwing open the door for everyone 16 and older to get a COVID vaccine. Good evening, I'm Ken Bastida.
I'm Juliette Goodrich in for Elizabeth. KPIX 5's Wilson Walker shows us how long it could take for vaccination sites to catch up.
More people being vaccinated here at Levi Stadium than anywhere else in California now, and that is the kind of capacity we are going to need now that eligibility has hit 16 and over.
As soon as we got on, there was kind of a crash to the website, but 5 minutes later it opened up again, so ended up pretty well.
Jeff Deere is 25 years old, now sporting his first shot of the Pfizer vaccine, and he says his friends are not far behind him.
From the people I know, yes. Especially my group, we're trying to get as soon as possible. Like I said, we want this to end as soon as possible, so.
April 15th, well known as Tax Day, is no longer Tax Day in California. April 15th is Vax Day.
Governor Gavin Newsom made a swing through vaccination sites in multiple counties, celebrating the full eligibility landmark, even though it will take weeks to make appointments available to everyone who wants one. And then there are those who aren't exactly clamoring for an appointment today.
We have to meet people where they are and make it a lot easier with no appointment necessary, because I know my family. They do not make appointments. They say, where am I supposed to go?
While opening a new clinic in San Francisco, Mayor London Breed acknowledged there is still work to be done reaching those who are struggling to reach out.
But a large part of this is access. I mean, we have data from several studies now that show the reason that a lot of people aren't getting vaccinated is they can't make the phone system work, or they can't, they can't get their appointments online.
And that, says Dr. George Rutherford, is something a lot of people can actually help with.
One thing people can do is help their neighbors, help their in-laws, help their relatives who are having a hard time accessing the system to get appointments and help them go and get vaccinated. That's a big deal you can do to help right now today.
Was poking around on the My Turn site, and availability, as we have seen so many times through the course of all this, still depends largely by county where you live. So check it out later tonight and see what you can find. Here at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, Wilson Walker, KPIX 5.
Well, if you receive the Pfizer vaccine, listen up, you may need a third booster shot in the coming year. Pfizer's CEO says that fully vaccinated people will likely need a booster between 6 to 12 months after their last vaccine. It's to help protect against new variants. Now, those variants might be better at evading antibodies from the vaccine than earlier strains of the virus. People could also need COVID shots annually to keep themselves protected. However, UCSF epidemiologist Dr. George Rutherford is a bit skeptical.
I think we'll eventually have to add them, but I think the scenario of having this changing year to year and getting it along with the flu shot, I think it's somewhat unlikely. It may well come out that way, but I'm guessing that that we won't quite be there this time next year.
And he says more research is needed to determine if a booster shot is actually necessary.
Also tonight, the city of San Leandro just released findings of an independent investigation into a deadly police shooting inside a Walmart last year. Last April, 2 officers responded as Stephen Taylor was wielding a bat and threatening store employees. The encounter ended with police fatally shooting Taylor. Among the findings in the report are failure to effectively deploy de-escalation tactics and failure to deploy crisis intervention techniques. The report also says, quote, had a different approach been taken, the use of deadly force might have been avoided altogether. And right now, demonstrators are gathering in San Francisco's Mission District, taking a stand against the recent police shootings in suburban Minneapolis and Daly City. Both happened during traffic stops.
We believe in true public safety. We want to know what people actually want, not what the police thinks is best for us. We're calling for a stop of fear-mongering from the police. We need to fund our schools. We need to fund our public transit.
In South San Francisco tonight, some ultraviolet robots are cleaning classrooms ahead of Monday's reopening. The school district there bought 30 of them for its 16 campuses.
Anything the light hits, it kills the microbes on. Turn it on for 7 minutes in the room this size, and it's done.
We want to invest in something that we can also use for long-term wise, for the virus. But once the coronavirus goes away, we want to be able to use it for like flu viruses and any other viruses that comes up in the future.
The district says the robots will also be sanitizing restrooms 3 times a day.
Bay Area City is one of the hottest real estate markets in the country right now, and we're not talking about our big 3 cities. KPIX 5's Andrea Borba is live at the Vallejo Ferry Terminal to show us why it's such a seller's market there right now. Andrea.
Well, Juliet, we've seen Vallejo's housing market hot, but never quite this hot. The pandemic and the need for space and affordable housing has made Vallejo very, very desirable to home buyers.
A Bay Area city with a median home price right near $500,000. It isn't fantasy land, but the 3rd hottest housing market in the country, Vallejo.
Vallejo used to be an unknown gem. Now it's a known gem.
Once infamous for filing for bankruptcy, the city has emerged as a new home base for home buyers during the pandemic.
And people are getting it and seeing it. And the open space and the fact that they're not restricted to being in their office in Silicon Valley, San Francisco.
Tim Heimstra is the owner and broker of Napa River Realty and has been in the Vallejo real estate game since '98.
I've never experienced anything like it.
Where rampant prostitution once reigned, there's now a Tesla dealership, a massive tech expansion happening on Mare Island, and only 58 single-family homes on the market. Jay Kobovec just sold his home in Vallejo. He bought it after the '08 crash and when the city itself filed for bankruptcy. In 2021, Jay got multiple offers, all over the asking price.
I put $100,000 into it, but still I got more than that out of it, so that was nice.
Simply not enough homes. Now, the problem here is scarcity. There are simply not enough homes on the market for all of those who want to buy, pricing some of the people who live here now and would like to get from apartment living to home ownership out of the market. Live in Vallejo tonight, Andrea Borba, KPIX 5.
Andrea, thank you for that.
Up next, it hasn't even been introduced yet, and it's already causing outrage. What's behind a new bill from Democrats?
Today, Democrats in the Senate and the House have announced they will once again threaten judicial independence from the steps of the court.
Plus, some new video of a 13-year-old who was shot and killed by police. The city that is bracing for the possibility of destructive protests.
And the signals surrounding California's economy that have Governor Newsom extra confident tonight.
This state is ready to come roaring back.
And then later, a new pathway to higher education, how a new partnership in the South Bay is making college dreams come true for hundreds of students.
They have to defer their dreams because they can't afford to do that next step into college.
Seeing some fog and low cloud cover in the distance as we look towards the Golden Gate. That's going to move back in tonight. Temperatures tomorrow, maybe a little warmer inland, but similar around the water. So a wide spread expected. We'll take a look at a warmer weekend across the board coming up in the forecast.
All right, from San Francisco to a live shot at the state capitol in Sacramento tonight. The state is seeing a big bounce back in the jobs market. New California jobless claims are the lowest they have been since the start of the pandemic, and they've been cut in half this week alone compared to last. Experts say 3 factors are driving this trend: accelerated vaccinations, lifted lockdowns, and schools going back into session.
Recently, I think people are kind of feeling a little cabin fever and looking for other places and other opportunities, so we're having to fill more spots than we have all year.
Wait till the March numbers come out. This state is ready to come back, come roaring back.
California, in fact, was responsible for more than a third of all U.S. job creations in February.
A live look at San Francisco, where indoor shows and sporting events are now allowed at 35% capacity. Indoor conventions and receptions can also resume for up to 150 people. And the city is lifting its 11 p.m. curfew on restaurants. The rules on indoor events and performances have also been loosened statewide. Capacity numbers are based on each county's individual tier assignment.
Well, Americans got to vote on which state they think is the best, according to a recent YouGov survey. Hawaii is America's favorite for sure. Its beaches and weather boosted the Aloha State to the top spot. On the mainland, Colorado came in second. Virginia rounded out the top 3. We were number 12, which seems a little low. While not a state, the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., landed at the bottom of the list.
All right, let's take a live look east over the ships in the bay, and you can see a little smog coming off the distance there, just a little bit. But nice view right there from our vantage point.
A little haze in the air. Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagen is here to explain that.
The air quality really isn't too bad. So the worst we're going to see is that yellow category. So no, spare the air alerts, nothing like that. But it's an area of high pressure in the atmosphere. It just means more air on top of us, tending to trap any smog or pollution or anything else near ground level. That's just going to build over the next few days. The upshot is that we're going to see a warmer pattern settling in as we head into the weekend, with our warm spell peaking the second half of the weekend on Sunday. Right now, looking west from the top of the Mark Hopkins Hotel towards Sutro Tower, the fog and clouds still hanging out in the distance, not in a big rush to make their way back in just yet, but they'll make their way in. Temperatures have dropped down into the 50s now in Santa Rosa, joining San Francisco and Oakland in the 50s. Well, everybody else is in the low to mid 60s, exactly 60 degrees right now in San Jose. Let's track that fog as we head through the rest of tonight, and Futurecast shows it surging in as we head towards midnight, and it's going to be pretty widespread and pretty dense. If you don't have fog in your neck of the woods tomorrow morning, you're at least going to have a lot of low cloud cover overhead. And when it's that widespread and that dense, it just takes a while to dissipate and back up towards the coast. It should happen for the inland portions of the Bay Area by mid to late morning. Around the Bay should be the case that we clear out by noon, but still some of that fog and low cloud cover hanging out along the coast for at least the first couple hours of the afternoon before you see a little bit of sunshine finally peeking through. Temperatures tonight drop down into the 40s for most of us. The chilliest spots in the North Bay valleys dropping down into the upper 30s. Otherwise, it's going to be low to mid 40s. High temperatures on Friday, all over the place. Still just mid to upper 50s along the coast. No real change there. Temperatures around the south end of the bay in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. Back into the low 70s for the Santa Clara Valley, including 73 degrees in San Jose. Temperatures also in the low to mid 70s for the Tri-Valley. The warmest spots east of the Diablo Range, reaching up to around 80 degrees by Friday afternoon. Near the bay, temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 60s for the East Bay, but upper 50s for San Francisco, and temperatures warm up as you head farther inland in the North Bay, right around 70 degrees, if not a degree or two, or maybe even 3 degrees above 70 by Friday afternoon, with warm temperatures farther north too, and these temperatures are just going to jump even more as we head into the weekend. We got new long-range outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center today for the month of May, and then the 3-month outlook for May, June, and July. A chance of above average temperatures, a decent chance for the entire West Coast for the month of May, but things really look warmer as we head into May, June, and July. That takes us right into the heart of summertime. A significant chance of above average temperatures, not just for us, but for most of the western United States. We'll keep you updated as we round the corner from spring into summer. Might feel a little summer-like inland by Sunday afternoon, with high temperatures in the upper half of the 80s. And Sunday afternoon will bring temperatures into the mid-70s around the bay and the mid-60s along the coast. And then we gradually cool off as we head through next week. By Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, back to a pretty normal mid-April weather pattern. I'll have another update on that weekend forecast coming up at 11.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Here's a look at your top headlines. High-end stores in Chicago are boarded up tonight because of possible angry protests. Police released body camera video of the deadly shooting of a 13-year-old boy. These are the moments leading up to it. Adam Toledo was chased down an alleyway. The officer yells, "Drop it," and less than a second later, he opens fire. It is still under investigation. Chicago's mayor is calling for calm tonight.
While we don't have enough information to be the judge and jury of this particular situation, it is certainly understandable why so many of our residents are feeling an all too familiar surge of outrage and pain.
Former Minnesota police officer Kim Potter facing a judge on Zoom earlier for the shooting death of Dante Wright. Potter is charged with second-degree manslaughter after allegedly drawing her gun instead of her taser. She will be back in court next month and faces 10 years in prison. Closing arguments are set for Monday in Derek Chauvin's murder trial. The former Minneapolis officer opted not to take the stand earlier. Chauvin is facing murder and manslaughter charges in the death of George Floyd. The judge had this advice earlier for the jury.
If I were you, I would plan for long and hope for short. Basically, it's up to the jury how long you deliberate.
On Capitol Hill tonight, Senate Democrats are getting ready to introduce a measure that would add 4 more justices to the U.S. Supreme Court. Right now, there are 9 justices, and the majority of them are conservative. Republicans say expanding the high court is a bad idea.
Today, Democrats in the Senate and the House have announced they will once again threaten judicial independence from the steps of the court.
I think it's an idea that should be considered, and I think the president has taken the right approach to have a commission to study such a thing. It's a big step.
And Ken, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has not yet fully committed to bringing the bill to the floor for a vote.
Juliet, thank you. Coming up next, updates on the status of 2 upcoming Bay Area county fairs. One of them has just been pushed way back. And tonight, the new partnership in South Bay, how it's raising big bucks to help get more kids to college.
We've raised now more than $6 million to support our hardworking students.
And then later, check out these shoes. Nothing too special about them, right? You'll probably never guess what they're made of. Well, that's the Bay Bridge. Now we're going to switch to the San Mateo Bridge right now. Our tickets to the San Mateo County Fair at the end of that bridge are on sale tonight. And this is the first major fair to return in the state since the start of the pandemic. The fair runs from June 5th through the 13th. Entries will be timed to help with social distancing. And a different story tonight for the Alameda County Fair in Pleasanton. It has now been pushed back to October 22nd through the 31st. It normally happens in June, but the fairgrounds will still be a mass vaccination site then.
A new South-based scholarship program aims to prove that when it comes to cash for college, every little bit helps. SJ Aspires is a city partnership with private companies. It provides mentors, counseling, and cash to needy students. Good grades can earn participants up to $5,000 scholar dollars by the time they graduate high school. Right now, the program involves 700 9th and 10th graders from Overfelt High, San Jose High, and Opportunity Youth Academy.
They have to defer their dreams because they can't afford to do that next step into college.
We've raised now more than $6 million to support our hardworking students. The barriers for our public high school students are both financial and informational. They're often not getting the information they need to be able to make those good decisions from the very first week of high school.
The mayor is looking for more corporate support and donations to expand the program to more schools.
Coming up next, these new shoes don't look all that special, but wait till you hear what they're made of. Finally tonight, it looks like a pretty normal shoe, right? But these are made of mushrooms. Adidas came out with what they're calling a mushroom-based leather. They do have natural rubber soles. Adidas says that the goal is to create a vegan alternative to its leather shoes. Now, I have a pair of shoes made from hemp. Now you got hemp and mushrooms. I think there's a theme going on here. I'm not sure.
Fungi fashion. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. See you at 11.